Thank you very, very much. That moment, that moment was very, very magical to me. I felt as if I had wings on my feet. I was told the moment was electrifying, and the world had just witnessed the greatest upset in Olympic history unfold. However, that's not what I took from sport. What I took from sport can be considered today, in our rapidly changing world, three of the greatest challenges are lessons we face today, globally, nationally, individually. I took, for example, it's the journey, not the destination, that empowers us. It's the daily decisions we make in life, not just the talent we possess, that choreographs our destiny. Now, my wife and I, being able to travel throughout the world to over 100 countries, I've taken a true sense of global unity through the dignity, the character, the beauty of global diversity. Unity through diversity. Not only the theme of the Olympic Games, far more important, the future of humankind if we choose. It's also an underlying theme of this incredible democratic experiment that we're on. Just to quote part of the Pledge of Allegiance. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. But roads have become misleading. It's easy to lose sight, to lose direction. I'm going to talk about footprints that created a cause. And I'm going to talk about my footprints as a young boy, and footprints of my ancestors from 1493 on. I'm half Lakota. I'm half white. I've never met a white relative. I would love to feel complete. I was 9 years old. My mother died. And as I mourned the loss of my mother, my father simply said, "Son, you have broken wings. You cannot fly. It takes a dream to heal broken wings. Find your dream, son." He shared with me over time how the dream would take me down a path to where I found a passion in life, a positive, constructive passion. He would say, "Develop the skills, son, to equal the passion. Bring them together, and magic can happen." And over your lifetime, one or two of the magical things you do just may be looked upon as a miracle. My father had me believing in magic. He had me believing in miracles. He was not a healthy man. I remember on 3 occasions, in the middle of the night, we did not have a car. He woke me and said, "Son, you have to walk with me to the hospital." He was having a stroke, a blizzard. We walked to the hospital. Another night, a year or so later, a lightning storm. And I remember the night you could see the stars. I believed in the hospital. I always got my daddy there. And he got well. This late afternoon was different. He said, "Son, we've got to go to the hospital again. But I can't walk. You have to find me a ride." I remember begging people to take my dad to the hospital. No one volunteered. I'd run back home saying, Daddy, I can't find a ride. The last time I ran home crying, saying, Daddy, I'm failing you. He simply said, you're not failing me, son. We made it walk and we will make it again. As we start to walk, a car drove up and stopped. The window went down. Put your dad in the back seat. I got my dad in the back seat. I started to get in. He stopped me. He said, son, this time I go alone. And he simply said, follow your dream. Create the magic. The last words I heard my father speak. 12 years of age. I was raised from then on by two women. My 16-year-old sister, my 18-year-old sister, both seeking their own rites of passage into womanhood. But they taught me love. They taught me to respect people. They taught me to believe in myself. And yes, they taught me to follow my dream, to find a gift within me, to develop the skills and create the magic. But when my dad died, I was not prepared for the racism I would face right off the reservation, alone. I felt safe with him when we'd go into a restaurant. We're almost the only ones there, but we would wait 45 minutes to be served. He would say, they're not all that way, son. Look at people. Look at their eyes and look at their smile. If they're good people, the eyes or the smile or both will take you to their soul. And there you'll find sacredness. The people I've met since I've been here, they don't know that I looked at their eyes. They don't know that I looked at their smile. But I want to tell them, you took me to the center of your soul. I found comfort. I found a sacredness. But my world became misleading. I would try to draw strength from my past. My great-grandfather, B.B. Mills, English, Scottish, found his way to America, was in Wyoming, Montana. He met a Lakota woman, full-blooded Lakota. They married. They had 5 children. 1868 treaty, when the tribes were surrendering. And Red Cloud surrendered, asked the U.S. government if B.B. Mills could become the first Indian agent on what is the Pine Ridge Reservation, the Red Cloud Agency, where I was born. They declined. They said he speaks fluent Lakota, married to a Lakota woman, has 5 Lakota children. It would be too hard to take the culture outside of them, to save the child, to save the person. That's when I started learning. People, culture, governments, laws, then hope. He mysteriously died. My grandfather was forced to leave with her 5 children, one, an infant. She found her way to Crazy Horse's band. There were 3 bands still free, living their traditional way. Crazy Horse was one of them. When Crazy Horse surrendered, riding into Fort Laramie, full regalia with his sub-chiefs, the U.S. military escorting them, 300 warriors then 600 men, women, and children, then the supply train, walking in with Crazy Horses Band to surrender, was my grandmother, my great-grandmother, with her eldest son, who lived as a hunter and gatherer for the first 4.5 years of his life. My grandfather, Ben Mills. I would try to study the past to understand the future. I began to understand a cause and effect that I'm going to come back to later. I ran for loneliness, to feel that maybe my dad's spirit was with me. Got a scholarship to the University of Kansas. Had no idea the significance. Had full 18 athletic scholarships because I was also a good student. I loved to read. I was not ready again at the University of Kansas, where we voted, the track team voted, whether I would join the black athletes and stay in the military barracks when we'd go to some of the meets, so the white athletes could use the motel swimming pool. Not surprisingly, we always voted unanimously to stay together as a team. My first experience of unity through diversity. First 3 times I made All-American. I'll never forget the words, but I've overcome the feelings. You, yeah, you, the darker skinned one, we want you out of the photo. The 3rd time, yeah, you, the darker skinned one, I'd like you out of the photo. I'm going to take 2 photos. I'll include you in the 2nd one. I broke. I know what it is to be broken. I went back to my hotel room, got a chair, opened the window, and I remember leaning out on the chair, and I'm leaning out. Just let go. It'll all be over. I didn't want to kill myself. I just wanted to be able to belong or go where it was quiet and be alone. I was so close. And I heard, not through my ears, but underneath my skin, energy, movement that felt like an unspoken word. Don't. Don't. Then a quiet sacredness, like an echo. Don't. Sounded like my dad's voice. I remember crying, getting off the chair. I wrote down a dream to heal a broken soul. And I remember washing the tears away as I wrote it. Olympic gold medal, 10,000-meter run. Where in the world did that come from? Olympic gold medal, 10,000-meter run. The Creator has given me the ability. The rest is up to me. Believe, 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 believe. Go back to the University of Kansas. Cross-country season's over. And eventually met this beautiful co-ed. I followed her wherever she would go. If she ever looked back, she probably thought I was stalking her. We met. A year later, Patricia and I were married. This coming January, we celebrate our 63rd wedding anniversary. I graduated from college. The first person I opened up to, I had told her a dream to heal a broken soul. And in the dream, I also felt I won a gold medal. I just didn't heal a broken soul. We're married, make the Olympic team. We're in Tokyo, Japan. It's time for the 10,000-meter run. I get her on the bus to go to the stadium. Pat's in her seat at the stadium, 90 meters from the finish. 14 rows up, 3 seats in the direction of the finish line. I get on the bus and my teammate came running, another lieutenant in the Marine Corps, And he simply said, Billy, Billy, I had this weird dream last night. I dreamt you won the 10,000-meter run. I didn't respond. I just dwelled on, I won the 10,000-meter run. A lady sat down by me. She said, what event are you in? I said, the 10,000-meter run. She said, today's the final, isn't it? I acknowledged today was the final. Then she asked a question. Who do you think is going to win? And I sat there. Whoever I named, I felt would beat me. So I simply said, I'm going to win. She looked at me with this incredible smile and disbelief and said, what's your name? I said, Billy Mills. There was no more conversation. We line up for the race. 72,000 capacity stadium. They said close to 80,000 were jammed in. The gun went off. Lap after lap, runners fall behind. Ron Clark, the world record holder. It had rained all night, the track was muddy. He immediately took the lead and got on world record pace. I joined the lead pack, running faster than I'd ever run before. We crossed the 3-mile, our 5,000 meters on world record pace for the 10,000. I'm losing confidence. I decided to take the lead, go one more lap, then I would quit. I took the lead. Immediately, Ron Clark, the world record holder, shot back in front, and he slowed the pace. A major signal. It's too fast for him also. 2 laps to go. 4 of us left. Wolde, the Ethiopian, started to fall back. There's 3 of us. The pace is too fast. I take the lead to slow it one more time. Immediately, Clark shot past me. Once again, he slowed the pace. I'm in the race to the finish. If any of you that run track, a distance runner, my final workout 4 days before the 10,000-meter run was 200 meters out of the blocks. I wanted to see how fast I could do the 200 meters with. Had a German coach time me. I shouted across the track, how fast? He looked at the watch and said, oh, not too fast. What's my time? He said, 23.3, but poor start. Maybe learn how to start, 23 flat. I go, yes, yes. He said, what event? I said, the 10,000-meter run and the marathon. He looked again and said, oh, very fast, 200 meters. 1 lap to go. I move on Clark's shoulder. He pushed me into the 3rd lane. I stumbled. Gamudi broke between us. Now I have insulinoma, which women usually get. That's a tumor on your pancreas that spews extra insulin. Rarely does it turn into cancer. Mine has not. I've had it since high school, probably. But the insulin was spewing. The tumor was spewing the insulin. I'm going low blood sugar. You can't respond when you go low blood sugar. I let them get 10 yards ahead of me. I'd make one final try coming off the curve. Boom, I'm there. Lifting my knees, pumping my arms, lengthening my stride. Just one more try. Then I may never be this close again. I've got to do it now. Then I'm going to win. But I may not get to the finish line first. Did I contradict myself? But I'm going to try to get to the finish line first. A runner we lapped, moving into the 5th lane to let me go by. As I go by him, I glance into the center of his jersey. I saw an eagle. My dad, when I was this little boy, would say, you do these things, son. Someday you could have wings of an eagle. I was a 26-year-old officer in the United States Marine Corps, married with 1 child, but I was the little boy. Wings of an eagle. I can win, I can win, I can win. Closing on them, catching them. Then as the tape broke across my chest, an official came up to me, and I said, "Do I have one more lap to go?" He said, "Finished. You're the new Olympic champion." I, I was stunned. I couldn't think. Then they said, "Is there anything we can do for you?" I've got to tell the runner with the eagle that on his chest that he helped me win. I found him. I looked at him. There was no eagle. It was simply a perception. Perceptions can create us or they can destroy us. The official came back up, "Is there anything else we can do for you?" And I simply said, "I want my wife." Within moments, they're tapping Pat on the shoulder. "Mrs. Mills, the new Olympic champion requests his wife." They brought her to me. We hugged. I cried. And I said, "I know what it meant. I know what it meant." She said, What meant?" "I'm going to win, but I may not get to the finish line first." "Pat, I healed a broken soul. And in the process, I won an Olympic gold medal. And still, this year is the 60th anniversary of me winning a gold medal at the Olympic Games. And I'm still the only person from the Western Hemisphere to win that event, which we truly are appreciative of. But far, far more important, I healed, with my wife's help, a broken soul. I came back from the Olympic Games to a world I didn't know really existed. I'm going back to footprints again. Footprints starting in 1492, when my white ancestry came to America, and ultimately meeting my Lakota ancestry. I would go to different cities. We moved 3 occasions. In those 3 cities, the founding fathers would approach me. "Billy, we knew you recently moved here. We would love to offer you a gift. We will make an exception. We will allow you to join our most prestigious business club. You will meet the movers and shakers of the community. It'll enhance your income. Besides, Billy, you already half qualify. You're half white, aren't you?" They had no idea the innocence they were sharing, how deep the knife would go. I would decline, and I always offered another person of color, a PhD African American or Native American. But they always declined my offer. Women could not join. I set on a course to find out why, in this incredible democratic experiment that we're on, why there's the exclusion when we're one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I wanted to find the cause to understand the effect. And we don't do that as we try to address diversity, inclusion. So I'm going to share the cause with you. When I was a little boy, I heard discussions between our elders. Keep in mind, I was born in 1938, 70 years after my tribe or my grandfather left hunting and gathering. I started studying the doctrine of discovery. Has anybody read the doctrine of discovery? Other countries are studying it while we let the winds of change and the passage of time wash those footprints away. Other countries are studying what I'm going to share with you now. 1493, courtesy of the Vatican, the Pope wrote the Doctrine of Discovery. Pope Francis, a year ago, called it genocide. When the Europeans first came to the Americas, archaeological digs, 50 to 90 million indigenous people. At the end of the wars, 7 million survived. Estimates of 23 million in what is the United States of America. At the end of the wars, my indigenous ancestry came from the less than 500 supposedly that survived. Just phenomenal figures. And I'm assuming they will still change. So the Doctrine of Discovery created the westward movement. Treaties signed, treaties broken. Now the land had to be developed. Slavery. No words can describe the inhumane treatment of the innocent. When slavery was abolished, leadership from Washington went among the poor white. Maybe some of them were my white relatives, I don't know, and simply said, don't let, quote, them take your jobs. They developed great skills as slaves. Don't let them take your jobs. Jim Crow was born. Some of the tribal nations were enslaved. 1 year before I won my gold medal, the Civil Rights Act was passed, signed into law within a month of me winning the gold medal. I went to Dr. Martin Luther King's church. I wanted to stand where those 4 beautiful young girls stood. My words now, perhaps celebrating their brand new freedom. When boom, the bomb goes off. They're killed. My wife and I went to the Catholic University in Seattle, to the museum where the painting of those 4 young women is. The painting shows no face. In my Lakota culture, the book that is just coming out, Wings of an Eagle, that Pat and I and Donna Bowman put together, shows a partial face, because we create who we are with our mentors, with the footprints that dictate our freedom or lack of freedom. With the Doctrine of Discovery, slavery, Jim Crow, came the war on drugs. Research I've done, the war on drugs was created by some very high, powerful people in the US government to make young black men felons, to make hippies felons. They soon dropped hippies and included our young indigenous boys finding their own passage into manhood. The war on drugs has been devastating. Many reservations. 40% of the young girls, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, are having to find a different place to sleep every night for fear of being sexually abused by men and women high on meth. We're trying to erase those footprints. The governor of South Dakota just said the war on drugs was created by the tribal nations. Other countries are studying what I just shared. So the doctrine of discovery, genocide, slavery, Jim Crow, the war on drugs, are etched into every fiber of our social way of life, our educational system, our political system, forever influencing or dictating the rule of law. As Pat and I travel throughout the world, we've had many young women from different countries, about 12 different countries, say, Billy, we have read, we've studied your tribal treaty with the United States government. We've studied slavery. We've studied the war on drugs. Why is your incredible democratic experiment and its leaders are letting those footprints be washed away by the passage of time and the winds of change? I've learned to speak in other people's world. Muhammad Gamudi, who I beat in Tokyo, he beat me at the World Military Championships. And he simply said, Billy, all you need is more speed. I practiced speed for a year. When I beat him in Tokyo, he said, Billy, too much speed. 2012 at the Olympic Games, he said, here's what I always wanted to tell you. That moment for you, Billy, I was so happy because I knew as you go by me, you break the tape, and as we touched hands after the race, the electricity. Billy, that moment, and he goes, was a gift to you. And I said, Muhammad, are you telling me that was a gift to me from Allah? He goes, yes, it was a gift to you from Allah. And in your world, Billy, your Native American spirituality, and I know you're a Christian, maybe from your Savior. But Billy, you and I have learned to learn about each other's beliefs. We've learned to share our beliefs. And I nod my head in agreement with you. You nod your head in agreement with me. We don't try to dominate or change. I have had over a dozen of my American U.S. Olympic colleagues tell me because of what I just did, I'm going to hell. I'm going to hell. Pat was offered in a home in the Maldives to be the first woman to join the men in this family for dinner. In the history of their family line, Patricia was asked to be the first female to join. Then my Olympic colleague's mother joined also. The words were simply, our world is changing too rapidly, too fast for us, but we need to move forward. Never in the history, as I close, never in the history of our country has the need for tribal governments, state governments, federal governments, and the marketplace to come together collectively and hear the voice of the beautiful diversity of America.